Hi everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Velvet Lounge. Today we are going to talk about eBay, and some spring cleaning you should begin right now, and how you can prep for Q4. Yes, Q4 this summer. Don't wait, start working on it this summer. So I'll be back with a few tips and a lot of tricks that actually have worked for me over the years. So we are going to get right into this with some of the items that actually sold. And I'm only going to, I actually really whittled down this list because of course you could go on and on about this sold and that sold and everything in the world sold, but I'm going to talk to you about a few things that people overlook that, you should definitely get on your radar, especially if you're out there hunting this summer. Also, I'm going to, talk about some markets that people feel are not active, which is not true. You just have to educate yourself. So one of the things that I see out in the world pretty often are the antique La Marie Paris opera glasses, binoculars. They're made of mother of pearl, always, and they're always made of brass, and they always came with a case. And one of the other things I'm going to say always about is they're always well marked. So the name is always present, the place of origin, it's always around this sort of lens part. Always there. And if you're lucky enough to find these intact, in excellent condition to very good condition, and they have the case that has a little bumblebee on the little button that you depress so that you can open and close the case, then that is what you want. If it's missing any of those features, you most likely will not sell your opera glasses. Mine sold for $39.99 because it had all the features of the original antique binocular glasses. And the shipping and handling was, I think it says $7.95. So those are things that a lot of people are overlooking, and you just have to make sure they're complete. That's where the value is. Something else, Beswick. Okay, there's a lot of Beswick out there. There is a crap load of it. Because it was so popular back in the day in England. A lot of English folks, and maybe even folks from Ireland, Scotland, etc., collected this, and they usually did it by species. So horses, for example, very popular. Swans, not so much. Pigs, there are a lot of farmers still out there. So these are very popular, as well as the fact that some people like pigs enough to have them as pets in their homes now. So there is a line, which was the Promenade Band line. If you're lucky enough to find those parts or those pieces of that collection, they generally sell for about, the least amount that we sold one for was $19.99. The highest amount was about $34.99. And so in between, we had, because we had like 6 or 7 of these, that's what we sold, things sold for. And I did $8.95 for shipping and handling on them, simply because obviously you want to put some extra care into packaging these, because the thing that makes these valuable still is if the animal has its original band instruments. In this case, this is the conductor. So he has a conductor's wand in his hand, and it's original. It wasn't replaced. I take like really tight photos so that people can see exactly what they're getting, and they're not like wondering, was it replaced? Was it reglued? No. And if you have that, then you should be able to get a really good return on your investment with these. You should, I think, I mean, you don't see them all over the place. The place where you'll see them the most maybe is like an auction or an antique sale. And when I say auction, that's one of the live sit in the audience type auctions. So I did a series of videos on how you can win at auctions and pay the least amount of money. Please watch that series. I will probably attach it to this video right up here. Wait, right up here, up there, right there. So, you know, figurines still sell. You just have to know what you're looking for, and you also want to make sure, you know, that it's really complete and it's in the best, like the absolute best condition. One of my other favorite things to sell, and it's something that I've collected since I was a child, and I inherited a bunch of this, is old money. And so I have a lot of money that's from like 1935, 1934, 1929, etc. That money has more value than the face value. The face value, for example, here is $20. This bill sold for $24.99, and it's because of its age, and it has a light green seal. They used a different color green ink back then, and it also does not have the "In God We Trust" motto on the back, so it's motto-less. Also, this has an alignment error where the right border is thicker than the left border, and the top border is also very thin and the bottom is very thick. So when they printed these, they were misaligned. That also adds value. The more I hate to say it, but the more messed up the bill is from the mint, the more value it will have. So if you mess it up, that does not count, and people will actually measure the bill. So you can't just cut off edges. Like, usually people who buy this stuff are people who actually specialize in it. So cheating will get you nothing except for a lot of regret, and you should be disappointed. I'm going to show you a dollar bill soon that sold for a lot more than $1. So something else to look out for are crucifixes, rosaries. There are some key factors in these to get, first of all, to make them sell at all, and secondly, to sell them for more than just a few dollars. One is you want the ones that have semi-precious stones. Or, hey, they could actually have 14 carats, like beads, or they could have sterling silver beads, but they should each be marked, or at least you should be able to test them with actual acids to know that it's 100% authentic, and you should be able to prove that. The other thing is the metals that are used for the other accoutrements, such as the crosses, etc. This one had another rare thing about it, that it had 2 crosses. Brass, if they're made of brass, sterling silver, any precious metal you can imagine, as well as copper, that adds value to these as well. So this one was able to be sold for $34.99 plus $4.95 for shipping and handling. And a lot of the things I'm showing you, I was able to ship out first class. So a lot of them ship for like maybe $2.66 to $3 and some change. So here's a $1 bill that I just spoke about a few seconds ago. It is from 1935. It has a blue seal. So not a green seal, but a blue one. The old bills were printed with, you know, several different color seals: orange, yellow, blue, red, light green, etc. And so all of that adds value to this money. This one also has a very low serial number. The serial number starts out as 000. So the more zeros in front, the better, the more value it has. So this one sold, as you can see, for $14.99 plus $4.95 for shipping and handling. So when you get your change back, always check your money. There might be, you know, more value there than the face value. Like I said, I have a lot of paper money from over the decades, and I'm sort of trying to thin through a lot of it. And you know, so the two bills I just showed you, just as full disclosure, are bills that I've had for many, many years. I did not, you know, just get change yesterday and say, wow, look at this. But in my actual change, once in a while, I will find like a star note, for example. So what's so special about 12 yellow number 2 and 3/3 pencils? What's special about them is they were made in World War I, and the company that made them, which is Eberhard Faber, Mongol pencils. So if you ever see these pencils, even if you see the empty case can sell for about, I would say $11, $12. But if the pencils are included, and one of mine had a damaged eraser, if my pencils were perfect, they would have sold for like $25. I did put them on sale, and they instantly quickly sold for $21.24, plus $3.95 for the shipping and the handling. So, you know, something like that will be something that a lot of people just walk right over and not think about. But if you know your history and you know about some of the makers back then, you can possibly pick up some amazing bargains. So something that still sells, and right now, because people think there is no market for it, they're just not picking them up, are these stoneware jugs or little stoneware crocks. This one is, I would say, 1.5 times the size of a Coca-Cola can. And it's taller as well. This is an old marmalade crock, and it was made in England. The English ones do sell really well. If you can find any early American ones that have the name of an American company on it, those sell really well as well still. The more artwork, the more design on it, the more valuable they are. And of course, condition. Just because they're not in perfect condition, it doesn't mean it won't sell. It just won't sell for as much. This one had a hairline crack inside of it, and I took a picture, of course, of that and disclosed it, and it still sold for $31 with 9 people bidding back and forth on it. The shipping, once again, $6.95. Something that is definitely overlooked all the time. Even I am guilty of overlooking this one. But I'll tell you what I paid for everything at the end of this video if I don't run out of time. But I'm going to take 1 second just to ask you guys to do me a favor and please share our channel, especially if you're part of Facebook groups. And also, if you can subscribe, that would be awesome. And giving us a thumbs up or leaving a comment on any of our videos is also very helpful to us so that we get an idea of what type of content to put out there for you. But one of the things that I definitely have overlooked myself several times are these vintage lithograph paint boxes. They actually have watercolors in them. And one of the things that you want to look for is how the word color is spelled. It should be the European spelling with it's C-O-L-O-U-R-S or O-U-R without the S. Also, the tins that are made in England, or if you are lucky enough to find any that were made in France, those garner a premium amount of money if they're in perfect unused condition. This one was in very, very used condition. It still had crusted paint inside, which I did not remove. It doesn't add any value. It's just like, you know, you have to sit there and say, is it worth my time to remove it? It's fully marked with the maker's mark here as well as the way the word color is spelled. At the bottom down here, it notes that it was made in England, and it sold for $16.14. And that was because I started the bidding at $18.99. Then I put it on sale and instantly got someone who purchased it. The shipping was $4.95. And this actually weighed, I believe it was like 12 ounces. So I was able to get it in under the first class rate. If it's full of paint, I think it might actually put you very close to a pound, if not over. Something else that people are not buying as much, even though they still sell, they just don't sell for as much, are brooches. So they have to be signed, and they have to be like the top, I would say 7 to 8 makers of brooches. Any other maker will not sell for very much. So if you find Monet, for example, you can buy one and, get 12 free. They just don't sell for as much money. But if you find Lisner, for example, they sell incredibly well. Coro is another company. I mean, there's an entire list of them out there that still sell decently. Back in the day, this would have sold for about probably $50. I probably would have had people bidding back and forth on it. But the market is at about, a little less than 50% as far as value goes of what it used to be. So this one sold for $19.99. It's one that I thinned out of my own personal collection because it's just not my style. And it's like I said, signed. They must be signed to get the most money you can get for them. And also they need to be in perfect condition. So if they're missing a stone, if you know how to replace the stone with the exact identical stone, then knock yourself out. If you don't know how to do that, I would talk to someone who could do it for you for just a few dollars. And if you can still make a profit off of that, if you got it for free or, whatever, then obviously, spending a few dollars to fix it is definitely worth it. And this one sold for $19.99, and the shipping and handling was $4.95. So is there still a market for brooches? Yes, but with several caveats. Something else are, people are listing shirts out there that are, being sold for $4 and some change, $10. There are still some shirts out there that you could sell for almost $20 or more, or even more. The vintage original Yves Saint Laurent shirts, or they're sometimes marked YSL, they sell incredibly well, especially if they have the numbers, the maker's numbers on the inside of the sleeve. I was lucky enough to find one of these recently. As you know, I really don't sell clothes. If I do, it's once in a very great while. But when I saw this one, and also because of the dark pink, which isn't showing up as well here in this photo, and it has these cool blue stripes through it, I was like, I'm going to try to sell these. Hey, look at my picture. Those that sell clothes out there, they have mannequins and all sorts of things. I just did a semi-flat lay on it, and it sold for $18.99. Plus the shipping on this was actually $16.95 because the person who purchased it lives in Canada. And I know you see $4.95 there. That is if I sold it here in the United States. Please be aware of your international shipping rates. They have definitely gone up. Usually if I charge someone $16.95 for first class shipping to Canada, usually it would cost me, I think it was like $13, rounding it up. And so on the handling part, we actually made, a few nickels. We really didn't make anything. But, for everything that you saw that I just showed you today, minus the brooch that was from my own personal collection, I paid $11.50 for $11.50. I maybe $11.55, but I think it was $11.50. Why? It's because I worked on some projects and it was part of the deal, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Oh, and I have to also exclude the two bills, the $20 bill and the $1 bill. So there's still money to be made out there. There are still amazing deals. Some of the things that you want to be aware of right now is if you haven't started, now is a good time to start weeding through your entire inventory. You should go through everything because you'll rediscover things that you didn't even remember having. Also, it's a good time to, take things out of the inventory that might be broken or chipped or, things that you're like, tried to sell something similar to that, didn't do as well. Now it's time to sell it a different way or donate it or whatever. Also, one of the things you want to do is start preparing for Q4 by putting things to the side that will be best for that time of the year. You can even start kind of creating drafts for some of that stuff if you have the free time to do that. A lot of people are going to be out and about this summer. They're not going to be sitting at home shopping online necessarily. And those that buy, I deal in antique, vintage, collectible oddities, that kind of thing. My people are definitely going to be out in the wild, looking for this stuff because they can buy it a lot less expensively. So what I do is go through the 2 cycles that I just told you about with my spring cleaning and prepping for Q4 so that, first of all, you keep active. Secondly, it's, organization is huge. It's very important in this business. Because, I really hate, and this happened to me a couple times where I ordered stuff from people and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't find it. Or I had a relative who used to sell as well. And, she would do it once in a while. And occasionally she couldn't find things either because of the disorganization. So and of course, yes, you're going to be out there looking for treasures. As you know, 90% of the stuff that I resell, it's from projects that I work on. So I don't really buy anything. But in the summer, if the weather's nice and, the temperature isn't crazy and I have the right cold bottle of water, I will get out there and do a little bit of scavenger hunting myself or treasure hunting. I plan on going out there tomorrow. Not tomorrow, actually on Sunday, the day after tomorrow. To see, even my daughter wants to go, which is so cute. She's so awesome. And so we're going to make a day of it and hit a few places that we have done incredibly well with in the past. So, this summer, if your sales go down or they seem low, just think there are things you could be doing to improve your business. As well as, yes, you should still be listing. But I think you should be a choosier about what you list. If you're listing pretty much everyday items, then your sales may not be as vigorous. And as well as I did a video recently on the drop shipping change, which is huge to eBay. If you're a drop shipper, you may want to look at how to diversify your portfolio. And if you're not a drop shipper, you still may want to look at diversification if you're, trying to sell things and they're just not moving. I have a couple methods for getting things to move. And, on Patreon, we're going to be sharing a lot more of the deepest, darkest secrets that have helped us become very successful at this. And it's our business runs so smoothly that we don't have to harp and dwell and live it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not even close. But, one of the things I do want to do, one of my goals for this summer is to increase the number of sales that I have in this particular eBay store, which is a store that I share with you. The other store we obviously don't share. And not to say in the future we might not do that, but at this moment, we're just not doing it because to me it's just not as exciting, or because the items there's many more of them are listed there than they are on this particular store. But the things that are listed are not as exciting to me personally. So that's why I chose, because I remember when we were going through which channel, which stores should we share? And I was like, but look at that. And is that really exciting? And whatever, like if you like electronics and if you know enough about them, and, I know it, unfortunately, more than enough, because I grew up in an era when a lot of that stuff was created and is now like completely sought after. But, for me to talk about a graphic equalizer or, 7 graphic equalizers or something is just not as exciting. I don't care who the maker was. All I care about is getting them sold. So, and plus in this store, there's just much more variety. So that's the other part of it. So anyway, one of the things I will be looking to do is increase the number of listings I have for this particular store. I have a bunch of drafts prepared right now. I have to get pictures, do the merge, and over the summer, hopefully that's fine. Why? Because yes, start preparing for Q4 right now. Do your spring cleaning, and right after your spring cleaning, because part of that will be you sorting, start looking at your plans for Q4 so that you can get ahead of the curve and ahead of the competition. So once again, I want to thank every single one of you that watch our videos, that share the videos, that give us a thumbs up, even if it's a smiley face or a hi as a comment. Thank you so, so much. It really is the vitamin B elixir, if you will, that gives me the energy to keep going with this channel. Because at one point, we were like, but part of the reason that we created the channel is really because we had so many questions. People wanted to know how we did it. How do you do it? How does it work? What do you sell? How do you know what to sell? How do you learn these things? And I was like, well, you know what? I'm always giving people the information anyway. Now it's something where I can just give them a card, or I could, refer them to the Velvet Lounge, and they can look up the information via our videos. I'm trying to do a better job of creating playlists. So that if, for example, buttons, as you know, one of my passions in life, I know it's crazy. I just love buttons. And I'm working on like 3 or 4 projects right now that involve buttons that are, things that are for family members, etc. So right now I am looking for a large quantity of a variety of buttons. But anyway, as going back to my example, if you're looking for information on, collecting buttons, identifying them, things you can do with them, etc., I have a playlist for that. So I'm trying, and that's just one example of me trying to get things in a better order for you on the channel so you can reference things quicker. The haul videos, trying to put all of those into one little playlist. So we're still working on it. Everything is going great. Our sales are steady, as in there. Everything is like right on target. As a matter of fact, our sales went up. I can't remember what the percentage was, which I was honestly kind of surprised about that. But here in New England, we have had, on the East Coast, we've had some sketchy weather as far as it raining every weekend, especially on Sundays. So I think that actually has helped us some. But, like I said, I'm prepping with my spring cleaning. I'm already getting ready for Q4. We actually went through the eBay room, or eBay Central as I call it sometimes, the Velvet Lounge, and did some reorganizing, which has definitely paid off in dividends. So I wish you guys the best, and hopefully your sales are going well. Please give us a thumbs up for any of our videos, and thank you so much for tuning in again.